Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith and I am proud to bring you my review of the movie Green Room. Now before I get into this review, I wanted to do two things. The first thing is I want to acknowledge the director Jeremy Saulnier for making this movie. And the second thing is I want to recognize the programming team at the Toronto International Film Festival for bringing this to the festival last year. Now, for those of you who don't know, I saw 35 movies in 10 days, so there were a lot of movies that I didn't get a chance to see, and this was one of them. Part of the Midnight Madness core movies at the film festival, I am blown away that this movie didn't win the Midnight Madness award, but I respect that Hardcore did, because it was a very good movie as well. Of course, now we know that as Hardcore Henry. With all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, this movie, spoiler alert, is amazing. It is very rare that I see a movie that I know very little about, walk into the theater and walk out of it trying to pick up the pieces of my mind because it's been blown. Now let me tell you about this movie. We meet this punk band who, in all honesty, isn't very good, which is why they're playing any gig that they can. To make ends meet, or to even seem to put together some semblance, they're going from car to car siphoning gas just so they have enough gas to get to their next gig. They're interviewed by this radio station and they're told that they can go and play a gig where they'll make $350. The only problem is that this gig they're going to be playing is going to be for a bunch of skinheads. And it's going to be completely off the beaten path somewhere in Oregon. So they go. They play their set for a bunch of neo-Nazis, what they'll do for money, and then they end up going back, collecting their equipment and leaving. When one of them realizes, hey, I forgot my phone. Well, it's an iPhone, girl, you go get it. And when they go into the green room, they see something that they can't unsee. And now that they've seen something that they can't unsee, the skinheads can't let them leave. So now they're being held against their will in this room. Now, in the room, there isn't a lot for them, but outside of the room is certain terror. Now, we see a lot of movies that come across where it's basically home invasion or people are being stalked and terrorized. And the problem with a lot of those movies is either they give away too much in the trailer, or all of a sudden there's a character that's like the secret ninja or the secret super spy, and they've got all these super skills that gets them out of the situation. Not very realistic. One of the aspects of this movie that I absolutely loved was they get a gun and they're like, I don't know what to do with it, you take it. So it was realistic to what you would expect. Another thing that I loved about this movie is they established very early in an era where it's all social media that these guys decide that they don't want to be on Twitter, they don't want to be on the Facebook, they don't care about those things, which kind of means people may or may not be looking for them. Now, one of the main characters in this movie is Patrick Stewart. Of course, a lot of you will know Patrick Stewart from Captain Picard and Star Trek fame. Of course, more recently, a lot of you will know him as the guy who does the voiceover in the movie Ted. But now you're going to know him as an extremely haunting character, as he's basically like the main guy who's kind of running the whole skinhead group. This movie's terrifying. It is violent. It is not for the weak of heart. I came across a couple that saw it, and I spoke to them after, and the woman was still shaking. How could you bring me to this, she said. But believe me, there were a lot of other women in the movie who seemed to really enjoy it. And one of the things that I like about it is because it's like a stealth bomber, this movie, like it's under the radar, you're not hearing a lot about it. So let me be the one to tell you, you need to see this movie. It is, for my money, one of the best movies in the theater right now, except for maybe The Jungle Book. I absolutely loved this movie to death. It was, no pun intended. It's so good. It's very enjoyable. Great job by the director. Great job by the cast. Some faces you'll recognize, some you might not. But regardless, everybody's giving you a really, really strong performance. I definitely recommend you checking this out. And if you do, please let me know what you think. The name of the movie is Green Room. It will blow your mind. You'll probably get an interesting sleep that night, but it's definitely worth checking out. As always, you can check me out on Twitter, because I'm all over the internet, I'm told, and I'm not running and I'm not going anywhere near Oregon, so I want you guys to know how to get a hold of me. CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WheatyWhittier, and WheatyWhittier.com. My name is Keith. Thank you so much for checking this out, and as always, I'll see you at the movies.